This is a Corratec Life S. It's a German-made bike with a particular purpose in mind. 20-inch wheels bring the rider really low to the ground. You can see they're kind of sort of semi-fat tires, 3 inches wide to give you good grip and a bit of comfort in there as well. I found that transitioning across a footpath, for example, was really easy. Some of the small wheeled bikes, it gets a bit sketchy when you do those sorts of transitions, but these being nice and wide smooth it out really well. The frame is fairly stiff, and what's interesting is this kind of one size fits all philosophy. So you look at that seat angle, and it's raked really back. And what that means is, as you raise the seat, so the rider's position on the bike effectively moves back and increases that reach. You can also adjust this the stem here up and down, so that shorter riders can have it down and taller riders might prefer it up. And you can also adjust the rake of the swept-backed handlebars. The handlebars hide a bit of a secret in a way, in that this design makes them fairly flexy, and so it takes some of the chatter and bump out of the road. The saddle does a fairly similar thing. It's got this kind of cup shape, and that means you're actually sitting on it, and it's holding your kind of cheeks in place rather than putting the weight across on this part of the saddle, which is how sort of racing saddles and things work. It takes a bit of getting used to, but it is comfortable. It's got a bit of internal springiness. If you added a suspension seat post, it would be even better. This one comes with a Bosch Activeline motor system. It's not intended as the world's gruntiest thing, but it has its purpose in that it's very smooth and easy. It'll take you up anything, but it won't do that with any great rush or fuss. It'll just go, and it won't surprise you negatively in any ways, but it's just competent and it'll get the job done. So it's designed for cruising in that sort of 25 to 30k zone, and if you want to go any faster, well, this is not really the bike for you. You can happily go slower, and with this low center of gravity, it makes it easy to ride slower as well. You've also got a internal geared hub. This is a Nexus 8-speed hub. The brakes are Shimano, and they're really competent. And one thing I noticed, there's attention to detail on a quality bike like this, and this headset, it's really long, as you can see, but it's obviously a quality unit. There's no play in here, so when you pull up on the front brakes, you don't get this sort of whoa kind of nervous judder and shake that you do on some bikes that have put in not the same sort of quality of headset. The pedals are broad, in that dimension anyway, and kind of contoured here, so that when you put your foot on there, your shoe sort of almost molds into the thing. There's a slight concave to it as well, so that it's really well designed to minimize any discomfort on there and maximize your contact points with the saddle. There's a 500 watt hour battery, so no matter what the commute or shop ride is, it'll do several days probably without recharging, which is a nice thing. Ergon style grips, which again are make it more comfortable, particularly for the sort of person who would buy this bike. It's also got a nice rack there, looks pretty sturdy. It's high enough off the ground to take a standard pannier. I saw it with an Ortlieb on, and it handled that just fine. So who is this bike for really? Well, it's not your ordinary bike, and it's probably not for someone who is a confident rider who's been riding bikes all their life. It's for maybe the more nervous rider, or maybe an older rider who really appreciates the fact that they can just stay seated on the saddle and put their feet on the ground. There's a huge market for that. Not everyone is a chop cyclist and who's been riding bikes all their day and all their life and wants now to get an e-bike. If that's you and you want a sort of a step through style, well then maybe a bigger step through would be more suitable, but this one, you know, has a particular market in mind. It's also not something that you'd want to put on a rack frequently. It's not the lightest bike, and you know, with those fat tires, you'd even struggle to get that onto, you know, your typical sort of low slung type of rack. You could probably put it on a prong rack, but then you're lifting a, you know, heavy weight, you know, a little bit higher. So it's really for someone who's an urban dweller who, you know, wants to be able to commute to work or to the shops or to the library or wherever you might want to go. And as such, it rides really, really well. I'm sitting here in Auckland Domain, right up the top. I rode up from the bottom. I rode up Grafton Gully first, just as a test, and then I came up the steep path that really tests me on an ordinary bike. But on this, it was just no fuss at all. I just cruised up, wasn't in any particular hurry, but just got me up there without any stress at all. So Corratec Life S, big tick, great little bike, and I think it's just short of $5,000 is the retail price. And at, you know, at that pricing, you'd say, well, actually that represents reasonable value. It's a quality bike, quality drive system. All the components are, you know, well thought out, and there's nowhere where they've skimped on it. That's the sort of bike you can be proud of. It even looks quite nice, a little bit different than everyone else's. You know, good step through, really good manners. So highly recommended.